let's talk about one of nature's absolute superstars, a plant that actually hunts. This little leafy carnivore has inspired myths and movies for centuries, but how much of what we think we know is actually true? Well, we're about to find out. Okay, let's just rip the Band-Aid off and tackle the biggest, wildest, most sci-fi movie question right up front. Could one of these things, actually snack on a person?
No, not even a little bit. It is one of the biggest myths in the entire plant kingdom. So yeah, you can breathe easy next time you're near one.
So let's be clear. The Venus flytrap is, without a doubt, a carnivore. It is designed to hunt, kill, and digest living things. But lucky for us, we are definitely not on the menu. Let's get into the simple reasons why. It really just comes down to a few basic facts. First off, look at the size. The average trap is, maybe an inch or two long, barely bigger than your thumbnail. Second, there's no strength there. If you actually stick your finger in one, it honestly feels more like a little tickle than some terrifying trap. And finally, the chemistry is just all wrong. Its digestive juices are brewed specifically to dissolve the hard exoskeletons of insects, not human skin. But get this. Here's a wild little twist. A botanist named Barry Rice actually experimented by putting tiny pieces of his own skin into a trap, and it digested them. The enzymes actually worked. So while it could never, ever eat you, the basic digestive chemistry is surprisingly capable on a tiny microscopic level. Still, zero threat in the real world. Okay, so we've established what it can't do. Now for the really cool part, what it can do. Let's dive into how this incredible little hunting machine actually operates with such mind-blowing precision. You see, the whole hunt is this perfectly choreographed 6-step dance. It's a masterpiece of evolution. It's not just some random snap. It's a calculated, elegant sequence. It all starts with attraction. The plant lures its victim in with some sweet-smelling nectar and a vibrant red color, basically tricking an insect into thinking it's landed on a tasty flower. Then comes stimulation and the famous rapid closure. The insect has to touch 2 of the tiny little trigger hairs inside the trap within about 20 seconds. Once it does that, bam, the trap snaps shut in less than a second. It's one of the fastest movements in the entire plant kingdom. From there, we get to sealing and digestion. The trap closes airtight, turning itself into a tiny green stomach. Then it floods the inside with digestive enzymes, and this whole process can take anywhere from 5 to 12 days. And finally, reopening. After the plant has soaked up all the nutrients it can, the trap opens back up, leaving the empty, undigested exoskeleton behind for the wind or rain to take care of. It's basically resetting itself for the next meal. Now, that whole double trigger thing we just mentioned, that implies something truly incredible. For the plant to know that 2 hairs have been touched in a certain time frame, it has to be able to count, and it has to be able to remember. So, how in the world does a plant think without a brain? This is its short-term memory in action, and it's brilliant. If a single raindrop falls in and hits a hair, nothing happens. The plant remembers that first touch for about 20 seconds, and it waits. If it doesn't get a second signal, it just forgets and resets. This simple but ingenious system stops the plant from wasting a massive amount of energy on a false alarm. It's just so efficient. The science behind this memory is something called an action potential. When a trigger hair gets bumped, it generates a tiny electrical signal that travels across the leaf. And what's amazing is that this is incredibly similar to how nerve impulses fire in animals, in us. The plant doesn't have a nervous system, but it's using the same fundamental electrical language to process information and make a decision. So if closing the trap takes all that energy, you have to wonder what the cost is, right? This brings up a common point of confusion. We've got to separate the life of one single trap from the life of the whole plant. They're 2 very different things. Think of each trap as a disposable tool. The sheer energy it takes to snap shut, seal, digest, and reopen is so intense that it can only pull it off maybe 3 or 4 times. After its last meal, the trap just withers, turns black, and dies, having done its job for the greater good of the plant. The plant itself, though? That's a whole other story. If you take good care of it, and this includes letting it have an essential winter dormancy period, a Venus flytrap can live for an incredible 20 or even 30 years, sprouting new traps all the while. And honestly, it gets even cooler. The plant grows from an underground stem called a rhizome, and this rhizome can actually sprout new, genetically identical clones of the original plant. So while one plant might live for 30 years,
Its genetic line? Well, in theory, it could be immortal.
Okay, knowing all this, it just begs the question, right? If these traps are normally just an inch or so long, what's the absolute biggest one anyone's ever grown?
So while your average trap is pretty tiny, there are dedicated growers out there constantly competing to push the limits. And the current record holder is, for a Venus flytrap, an absolute giant. That's right. 2.4 inches. That's over 6 centimeters long. This record, held by cultivator Jeremiah Harris, is for a trap more than double the average size. Now, still not big enough to worry about your finger, but definitely large enough to handle some seriously big bugs. So, let's just recap everything. The idea of a man-eating monster? Pure myth. The reality is a highly sophisticated hunter that uses electrical signals, not a brain, to count and remember. And while each individual trap has a very short disposable life, the plant itself can live for decades. This is not a mindless plant. It's a true marvel of the natural world. And that really just leaves you with one final amazing thought. The Venus flytrap proves that plants can do things we once thought were reserved for animals. They can sense, they can react, they can even remember. It really makes you wonder, if a single leaf can be this clever, what other incredible secrets is the plant kingdom still hiding right under our noses?